We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright where the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us break. What's that is coming over you? You're wishing upon a star. You're wishing it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all.
Good morning, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is another episode of Those Were the Days as we come to the end of this series as we approach modern day. Which season are we going to, George?
17-18, Steve. We're first season back in the Premiership with Rafa.
Okay, well, we will, as always, hand over the reins of the good ship NUFC Matters to the one-eyed naval architect. Over to you, George.
Thanks, Steve. Hi, everybody. As usual, just to put things in perspective, what's happening elsewhere. If you're a movie buff, a film buff, Thor, Ragnarok was and Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, and Kate Blanchett. Quite a cast in that. Wonder Woman, Guardians of the Galaxy, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, and some of I don't think I've seen any of those, but they're all super grossing movies. I mean, they've made a lot of money, no doubt about that. And in the music world, well, Wham! Last Christmas was the big seller for a lot of weeks. And then Ed Sheeran, The Shape of You, and Castle on the Hill, J.P. Cooper, September Song, Call Me Starly, You Don't Know Me, Jax Jones featuring Ray, and Paris by the Chainsmokers. Some certainly memorable recordings in this particular year, and ones I can actually say I remember, which is something. The big things about the changes is that gives you to give you an idea of how Rafa developed things. This is who left left Newcastle: Anita, Sami Amiobi, Gufran, Haris Vukic, Saka, Kevin Malibu, Mabu, Florian Thorvin, Daryl Murphy, Lewis Gibson, Emmanuel Riveri, Sam de Jong, Grant Hanley, and Tim Krul all went out. And coming in, Christian Atsu, Florian Lejeune, Jacob Murphy, Javier Manquillo, Joselu, and Mikel Marino. So quite a turnover of personnel in the system, no doubt about that. And kind of set the scene for what was to come in many ways. But right, let's talk about the football. And lots of training tops and strips. Some of the strips were I quite like that one, the black one with the shaded stripe, and always more than one goalkeeper strip. People, a couple of pictures from the back end of the season, or the first game when they started the huddles. And then other things that happened on the way. Okay, the football started with usual spate of friendlies. We went to Hearts and won 2-1. Played Preston, drew 1-1. Bradford City won 4-0. FSV Mainz 0-5. We lost that one 2-1. Wolfsburg, we beat Wolfsburg 3-1. Hellas Verona, we beat 2-0. So quite a hectic list of friendlies before we went to the very first game of the season, which was at home to Tottenham Hotspur. And the expectations locally were very high. It's interesting, that program until a couple of days ago, I'd weeks I've been looking to get it. I couldn't get it. And suddenly I decided to have one more go a couple of days ago, and it popped up on a totally different website. But it's obviously rare because its price, even on eBay, was up to about 12 quid, which is a lot for one program. So whether they didn't print many or what, I don't know. But anyway, there it is. Well, first home game against Spurs, and we lined up with Elliott, Manquino, Lejeune, Clark, Dummett, Shelby, Hayden, Ritchie, Perez, Atsu, and Gale. And Tottenham, Loris, Walker Peters, Underworld, Vertonghen, Davies, Dyer, Dembele, Sissoko, Ali, Eriksson, and Kane. And of course, we're now into names that we know well now because a lot of them are still playing. It was a game that was expected to be a tough one because Spurs are being regarded as one of the top teams at this particular season. And we had 52,100 in the ground at St. James's. And, I remember it well. It was an entertaining game, but I'm afraid Spurs were just too good for us. We gave as good as we got in the first half and got the half time 0-0, and we played just as well in the second half. Looked like things were going even Steven. We might get a draw out of this then. And then a young man called Del Yali showed some of his class that had made him famous, although where it's gone to now, nobody knows. And he started to dictate the game. And there's no surprise on 61 minutes when he sauntered through our defence with the help of Sissoko and made it 1-0 on 61 minutes. We tried and huffed and puffed a bit, but put all our subs on, and tries we couldn't get back in the game. And on 70 minutes, I don't think anybody was just surprised when, from a corner, Davis, the big defender, sauntered up and headed in to make it 2-0. And that's how it stayed till the end. And we really never got into the game. And of course, the second half was very tough because just after the half-time whistle, Shelby took a swing at somebody and ended up getting a red card. So there's no way we're going to get back in after that. But it was a disappointing start of the game, but very, very predictable in other ways. So after that, we went to Huddersfield for our first away game of the season, and unchanged team: Elliot Malaquilo, Lascelles, Clark, Member, Atsu, Hayden, Marino, Ritchie, Gale, Perez, and Huddersfield with Lossie, Smith, Zanka, Schindler, Lowe, Moy, Billing, Kachuganga, Ince, Para, and Mooney. Moy, of course, is still playing for Huddersfield even now. The American player. A good game, and it went stuff in the first half, going 0-0 at half time, and it looks like we're going to at least get a draw out of it. We're giving as good as we got, and we ended up with it looking sweet until 50 minutes, and we conceded a silly free kick. And Moy, of course, is a free kick expert, and he did just that on 50 minutes. And bang, we were 1-0 down. We pressed them hard, tried as hard as we could, but we couldn't salvage anything out of the game, so we got a 1-0 loss. Interestingly, the referee was a young Craig Pawson, who comes to our mind quite a lot on VAR these days. And as the writer of these things, the commentator of these things, is that Craig Pawson, he didn't have far to travel from his home in Sheffield. Well, he wouldn't. Sheffield's only a stone's throw from Huddersfield, but never mind. Not suggesting that had anything to do with the result, of course. The next game was a Football League Cup, second round against Nottingham Forest. And well, people don't need me to tell you, it's a cup in which we have a checkered history, and at home to Nottingham Forest should be a route through to the next round, everybody would think, but lo and behold, that's not how it works. So we go into this game at St James's with only 27,000 at the game, which is an indication of how the fans view the League Cup these days, or those days. Well, it looks like it's going to go our way, because in 3 minutes, Mitrovic, who's in the team, slams one in, and we're in the lead. And we look as though we're going to sail into the next round, but lo and behold, Nottingham Forest Cummins on 29 minutes equalises. Then on 31 minutes, the same Cummins makes it 2-1 to Forest, and it looks like we're scrambling a bit. Then Rolando Aarons, right on half time, almost the last kick, makes it 2-2. So we go in 2-2, and hoping that we pick up in the second half. Well, we do, but we can't stick the ball in the net, and there's the problem. We get to the end, and it's 2-2. So we go into extra time, and well, unfortunately for us, the extra time whistle doesn't help us at all, because the Nottingham Forest substitute Walker sneaks onto a through ball, and in 97 minutes it's 3-2. And after that, it's backs to the wall for Forest. But hammer away as we did, we couldn't do the big thing, and that's put the ball in the back of the net. So we lose the game at 3-2, and it's hugely disappointing, obviously, for everybody. And our team, well, one of the talking points was the changes that Rafa made. Darlow, Sterry, Hanley, Member, Games, Murphy, Savet, one of Henry Savet's few games, Barleza, Aarons, Diarmi, Mitrovic. And it clearly a lot of criticism of Rafa for playing all those the young guys in it, but still should have been enough to beat Forest, but we didn't, and so we're out of the League Cup at the first time of asking. So we now go to West Ham United, an away game. Sorry, West Ham United come to St James's Park, and despite the loss in the cup and so on, 52,100 in the ground again. It's a testament to the fan base that we always have and never take for granted. But it's, you know, even after a bad defeat like that against Forest, we still get a full house, or as near as full house as we can. And Rafa reverts to his starting lineup was that he start the season with Elliott, Manquino, Lascelles, Clark, Wemba, Marino, Hayden, Richie, Perez, Atsu, and Joselu comes into the side. West Ham, Hart, Joe Hart, of course, who's still kicking around. Zabaleta, Collins, Obanga, Cresswell, Rice, Noble. Names that we're seeing now. Rice, Noble just retired. Antonio, AU, Fernandez, and Hernandez. A good West Ham side playing good football. Pundits in the south talking about them being possible champions, but possible champions or not, they just Newcastle just took them apart. It was no surprise on 36 minutes when Joselu put in the lead, and the only surprise was it was only 1-0 at half time. It should have been a lot more. Second half, we huff and puff to put the ball in the net, and eventually on 72 minutes from a corner, Clark heads in to make it 2, and then on 86 minutes, typical Mitrovic goal, he busts his way in through the defence and slams the ball into the back of the net to make it 3-0, and that's how it stays to the end. And a good game of football, and particularly good from our point of view, with the first points on the board and a strong win against West Ham. So next game is we go to Swansea, and 21,000 in the Vetchfield. It's a game which we should be having a go at, and we do, and it's from the off, it looks like we're certainly up for the challenge. Slight change in the team. Games comes in at fullback for on the right side for Manquino, and Manquino switches to the left. Otherwise, it's the same team. Swansea, Fabianski, who's still in goal for West Ham occasionally. Norton, Fernandez, Mawson, Olsen, Klukas, Sanchez, Carroll, Fur, Abraham, and AU. And on the subs bench, of course, is Routledge, who used to be ours. Quite a decent game, but big problem is neither side knows where the goal is. Can't stick the ball in the back of the net, the referee is Mike Jones, and within minutes he's got Isaac Hayden in the book, and sort of issues a warning of what he's going to be like, and a number of bookings through the game, and Hayden was lucky he stayed on the pitch in some ways, but nonetheless it was his first booking was harsh, and would have been harsh to do any other. Second half was similar stuff, lots of good play, nobody getting near the goal. and looks like we're going to end up with 0-0. Then on 76 minutes, we get a nice corner, and Murphy floats it over, and who should be there but Lascelles, the captain, to head in, something he did quite regularly during his time, and he got us a 1-0 victory at Swansea. So we're heading in the right direction in terms of the league position, and takes a bit of relief off the squad and off the support as well. So we're back on the Saturday with Stoke City at home. Another game we win in if we're going to do anything in the league at all. And we have one change, another change at right back. Yadlin comes in at right back. Otherwise, it's unchanged. We then have the Stoke team with Butland, who's their goalkeeper, and a goalkeeper who's been trumpeted as the next England goalkeeper in the press. Zuma, Martins, Wimmer, Diouf, Allen, Fletcher, Peters, Shakri, Monty, and Jesse. And on the bench, none other than Peter Crouch, the very tall centre forward of England fame, as well as several other clubs. It's not the best game. It's lost in midfield. Both midfields quite strongly contested, but the ball gets lost in midfield. Not a lot of shots on goal. Then in the middle of the half, Christian Atsu uses his silky skills to come in from the left-hand side, and Stoke just let him run and let him run just that one pace too far, and he slides the ball under Butland to make it 1-0 to Newcastle at half time, and that's how it stayed. Second half is much the same. Big midfield battle, but with not a lot of opportunities on goal, and what happened was what we feared, that because it was going nowhere, it was going to take something special to get goals in this game, and lo and behold, the little Turkish winger Shakri for Stoke on 57 minutes dribbled through our defence and made it 1-1, and it had all the looks as though that's how it would stay. And then on 68 minutes we get a corner, and guess what? Up comes Jamal Lascelles to make it 2-1 from the corner, and that's how it stayed till the end. A good result in terms of our league position, and calms everybody. The referee, Stuart Atwell, and again another name that we know now from more from VAR than anything else. So we then away to Brighton, and Rafa keeps an unchanged team. Elliot Yadlin, Lascelles, Clark, Member, Hayden Marino, Richie Perez, Atsu, and Joselu. The Brighton team: Ryan, Bruno, Duffy, Dunk, who still plays at centre back for them, Sutter, Knockout, Stevens, Proper, March, Gross, and Hamed. It's a good game, a good football game. Chances in the first half, 0 though. The one bit about it was that both sides struggling to find the back of the net. And then second half's much the same, but on 51 minutes, there's some neat play by Knockout, the dangerous German winger of theirs, and it ends at Hamed, the centre forward, and he makes it on 51 minutes 1-0 to Brighton, and that's how it stayed till the end. And gets a bit spicy towards the end. Knockout and Duffy get booked for Brighton, and Lascelles for Newcastle after some pushing and shoving in the penalty area. But we lose at 1-0, which it wasn't a desperately bad result, but a one which we would like to have done better in, because of Brighton are in the sort of position where we should be thinking about beating teams like Brighton. So we're home to Liverpool next. Now, if you've had a defeat and you're coming home, not always Liverpool that you would want to meet, but that's a choice. That's how the fixtures fell. And unchanged team by Rafa. And Liverpool, all-stars, Mingele, Gomez, Matip, Lovren, Moreno, Windjam, Henderson, Coutinho, Salah, Sturridge, and Mane. Again, names that we all know now. There's 52,300 in the ground. That's just about a full house, and not surprising with Liverpool coming. And it's a good football game. I remember it quite well. It was quite exciting, and it looked like we're in for a hard time, because even though it was end to end, Liverpool always looked the more dangerous, and Coutinho emphasises that on 29 minutes when he puts them in the lead. But then, lo and behold, on 36, Joselu scores a pitch of a goal from the edge of the box to make it 1-1. And so at half-time we go in 1-1. Second half's end-to-end, but not a lot of chances on goal. And it stays 1-1 till the end, which is a very creditable result for a promotion team to hold Liverpool to a 1-1 draw, even at home. Our next game is an away game at Southampton, and we had some good results there and some bad results there. Unchanged team again. Elliot, Yedlin, Lascelles, Lejeune, McQuino, Hayden, Shelby, Richie, Perez, Atsu, and Joselu. Southampton, Forster, who in goal, who we know, Suarez, Yoshida, Van Dijk, Bertrand, Romelu, Lemana, Tadic, Gabbiadini, Redmond, and Long. A good blend of old and young at Southampton, particularly people like Long and Tadic and Redmond, all been around a while, but still tidy players. We have a go at this one, and it looks like we're going to have a go. And on 20 minutes, we get a free kick, and when it swings over, Hayden meets it with his head, and it's 1-0 on 20 minutes to Newcastle. And we'll hold that out till half time. And it looks like it's going our way, except we, on 49 minutes, just after the half time whistle sets off again, 49 minutes, Gabbiadini gets on the end of a through ball from Romelu, and it's 1-1. And it would look like we're hanging on a bit then. But then on 51 minutes, Perez scores one of his classical goals, a real sweet pass into the net almost, not a shot. And we're 2-1 in the lead. And it looks like we may get all points. Then lo and behold, we 75 minutes, we Lejeune upends Gabbiadini in the penalty area, and Southampton get the penalty, and Gabbiadini steps up to take it, and it becomes 2-2. And that's how it stays till the end of the game, a 2-2 draw. But an away draw at this stage of the season is no bad thing, and keeps going in the right direction in the league. Referee Kevin Friend, another name that we still know, and so the next next game is a home game against Crystal Palace, who come to us with a growing reputation in the south of England, although there's some other people questioning whether they'll survive the Premiership, but there are others who think that they're playing well. They've certainly got some excellent players on their side who are attracting attention. So we got Crystal Palace and 52,200 in St James's for this game, which is fantastic, really. Unchanged team for us. In Crystal Palace, well, Speroni in goal, they got from this part of the world. He was at Middlesbrough before that. He was at Darlington, I think. Ward, Dan, Sacco, Van Aanholt, MacArthur, Kabay, name we know, Milovic, Schlupp, Townsend, and Zaha. Some dangerous players in there, but we should be up for it. We should be in with a chance. But it's not a very good game. It's lost in midfield with very few goal chances, very few shots on goal. Both goalkeepers having relatively easy time, and it drifts to 0-0 at half time, and it's looks like it's going to head towards a dismal 0-0 by the end. But then our substitute Marino comes on for Hayden, and a little piece of magic by the Spanish lad, and on 86 minutes, and he scores a peach of a goal, giving us to hang out just over 6 minutes, including injury time, to get the win, and we do so with ease without any problem at all, and so we get a nice 1-0 victory, which puts us nicely in just over the top half of the league. And then we're away to Burnley, and 21,000 at Turf Moor. Burnley not regarded as a side that's going to do much. In fact, in some quarters regarded as possible relegation candidates. It's a dismal first half, ends 0-0. We've got an unchanged side. The Burnley side is very predictable, and second half is livens up a little bit, and Hendrick comes off the bench to substitute for Shelby gets a knock, and Hendrick comes on, and lo and behold, he's only on about 5 minutes when he gets an opportunity to put us in the lead, and he does on 74 minutes. Hendrick makes it 1-0. Burnley don't have the skill or the pressure to turn that over, and we hang on to 1-0 without any difficulty at all. So really cementing us nicely in just over the top half, into the top half of the league. We then come home to a game against Bournemouth, and even with Bournemouth, 52,200. It's remarkable, really, that we get those crowds, and it's a testament to the football we're playing in some ways. And people are expecting this to be a straightforward win for us. Well, like I often say, nothing's ever straightforward if you're a Newcastle supporter. It's a dismal game. Bournemouth come to spoil, and spoil they do, and the game's very, very flat. There doesn't seem anybody up for doing anything to change that. 0-0 at half time. There's no question it's going to drift to 0-0 at the final whistle. But then, just before the final whistle, Sam Cuckoo, who's the fullback, or left-sided fullback, drifts in from a corner and makes it 1-0 to Bournemouth with virtually the last kick of the game, 92 90 minutes plus 2, it says on here. Hardly time to kick off before the game was over. So it's a pretty dismal loss. It's not just the loss, but it was the way we lost. We really didn't play very, very well at all, and disappointing after the good results we've had, and to lose like that at home is a bit of a bummer for us. Unchanged team. Bournemouth had Begovic, Francis, Cook, Ake, Daniel, Zebi, Arter, Sermon, Pugh, King, and Wilson. And I think that's the Wilson we know and love at St James's Park at the minute. Referee Paul Tierney, another name that we know regularly. So this bit of a dismal loss, which was disappointing. Now, after a disappointing home loss, I suspect the last place, if you'd asked them, the players wanted to go, the team wanted to go, would be Old Trafford. But that's what the fixture list's done for us, and we're off to Old Trafford for an away fixture, and it's quite a trial in many ways, because Manchester United had been tipped to be up there with the challengers for the title, and team of all stars: De Gea, Valencia, Smalling, Lindelof, Young, Pogba, Matic, Rashford, Mata, Martial, and Lukaku. There's some money's worth in that side. We're unchanged. Elliott, Yedlin, Clark, Lejeune, McQueen, Hayden, Shelby, Ritchie, Murphy, Joselu, and Yale. And start off, it looks like we're going to give this a go. And on 14 minutes, Gale runs through unchallenged to make it 1-0. And then 37 minutes, Martial equalises. And then some slack marking at a corner just before the half-time whistle sees Chris Smalling head in to make it 2-1 to Manchester United. Second half, it's all Manchester United. They really have a go at us. And 54 minutes, Pogba scores. And 70 minutes, Lukaku sails through the defence to make it 4. And we lose 4-1 in a game which really was Manchester United from the very start. We flattered to deceive with the early goal, but it didn't do any good, really. So the next game is home to Watford. And Watford are bumping around the bottom of the league, so it should be no real hardship for us. 52,100 at the ground, so there's lots of confidence that we're going to do something. Unchanged team from Rafa, and Watford, Gomez, who they got from Spurs, Mariappa, Castleblaye, Britos, Firmina, Hughes, Decor, Cleverly, Ziegler, Richarlison, Gray, and a good football inside, but one that's not sort of predicted to do anything special. Well, predict anything special or not, Watford take us apart. First half, Hughes, their dangerous midfielder that they bought from Derby, on 19 minutes makes it 1-0, and then on almost the last kick of the first half, Yedlin scores an own goal, an unfortunate own goal, one of these that hard shot that flicks off the back of his heel and into the bottom corner, giving Elliott no chance. So they go in 2-0 up at half time, and everybody's hoping that we'll turn it round in the second half, but no such luck. It's really Watford dictating the play, and it's no surprise on 62 minutes when Gray makes it 3-0, and a very, very disappointing result. At home particularly, as Watford aren't great shakes. They're not regarded as championship material, but they were too good for us on this day. Referee Chris Kavanagh, another name that we know very well from VAR these days. So we're now off to West Brom, to the Black Country, to Birmingham, to for an away game at West Brom, and we have an unchanged team. No, sorry, Elliott's got an injury and Darlow comes in goal. Otherwise, it's an unchanged team, and West Brom playing some tidy football, were not regarded as champion material. Their best is regarded as middle of the table, and but there's some decent players. Foster, the goalkeeper, Naum, Higazi, Evans, Gibbs, Phillips, Livermore, Barry, Field, Robson, Carnu, and Rondon. Is a name that we know and get to know even better. The referee Lee Probert, another name that we know well these days. It's not a bad game. Two teams playing football, and unfortunately for us, Robson Carnu right on half time makes it 1-0, out jumping the defence to head from a corner, and we're going 1-0 down, and things are looking pretty dire when on 56 minutes in the second half, on 56 minutes, their substitute Field comes on and scores number 2. And so it looks like we're going to struggle to get anything out of this game. And then on 59 minutes, almost immediately after the West Brom goal, we get a corner. And Clark goes up and heads it in to make it 2-1. Then after that, we really do have a go, and it's back to the wall for West Brom. We're hammering away, and then on 83 minutes, we get a free kick, and it's swung in by Richie. Swings in the free kick, and Evans, the centre back, thinks he's heading clear. Well, it scuffs off the top of his head and into the far corner of his own goal, and makes it 2-2 to us. So on 83 minutes, so we end up with a nice, a good away point to help cement our league position, which is great. I mean, we're anything like that for confidence sake, we're happy of. Next is the away game at Chelsea, 41,500 at Stamford Bridge, but a game which Chelsea been talked about as possible champions, and we once again flattered to deceive. 12 minutes, Gale makes it 1-0, but we can't hold it. 21 minutes, Hazard makes it 1-1. 33 minutes, Morata makes it 2-1 to Chelsea at half time. And that's how it stays. But we really get back to the wall stuff in the second half, because Chelsea are all over us. And we end up giving a penalty away, a dubious handball call from the referee, but it's given, and Hazard steps up, takes the penalty, and it's 3-1 to Chelsea. And we never look like we're going to claw anything back. It really is Chelsea's game from then on in. And still not a bad result for us as a promotion team against a team which is full of stars. Courtois in goal, Azpilicueta, Christensen, Rudiger, Moses, Drinkwater, Fabregas, Kante, Alonso, Hazard, and Morata. A very talented team, and we did our best, but against that Chelsea lineup, but even our best wasn't good enough. And so the next game is home game to Leicester City, and well, Leicester aren't regarded as anything special, but They've one or two talented players going to cause any team trouble. We have an unchanged team because Darlow's still in goal. Elliott's still on the injured list. And otherwise, an unchanged team. Leicester come with Peter Schmeichel in goal, Simpson, who used to play for us, Morgan, Maguire, Chilwell, Mahrez, very dangerous wide man, Niddy, Idora, Albrighton, Gray, and Vardy. And Vardy's the danger man. It's a good game, and looks like it might go our way when Joselu on 4 minutes makes it 1-0 to Newcastle. Mahrez in 20 minutes scores a peach of a goal to equalise. Stays like that at half time. Second half comes out and Gray slots in a beautiful goal to make it 2-1 to Leicester. And Gale equalises on 73 minutes. And we all think it's going to be a draw, but on 86 minutes, an unfortunate own goal, one of these things where I think it was, Chilwell took a free kick and Perez stuck his head to thinking he was clearing it, well, it glanced off the wrong side of his head and into the back of the net with Darlow not having a chance. So in 86 minutes, Leicester get the 3-2, and there's no way we can come back. We're stuck with that as a 3-2 loss, which is disappointing in any event, but home losses particularly not the best. On the following Wednesday, we're at home again to Everton, and Everton a tidy side, unchanged we are, and Everton come with names that are very familiar: Pickford, Martina, Williams, Holgate, Kenny, Grayer, Schneiderlin, Sigerson, Rooney, Lennon, and Calvert-Lewin, and they're playing well. Not being touted as champions, but certainly better than halfway. It's a good game. I remember this quite well. It was a nice night, and we give as good as we get. But 27 minutes. Rooney's always been a thorn in our side. Well, on 27 minutes, he does it again and puts Everton 1-0 in the lead. But it's end and end after that. And in the second half, we really pressed them hard, but we can't hit the back of the net. And it's a good football match. Well, good challenges, but it gets a bit spicy. And Holgate and Calvert-Lewin get booked for Everton. Shelvey and Marino get booked for Newcastle. And on just at the final whistle, Shelvey gets booked again and gets sent off as a result of that second booking. And typical of Shelvey, it's a silly booking. He just kept his hands to himself. He ended up pushing a bloke on the ground when he should have just walked away. But that's John Joe occasionally loses it, and he did in this one. And referee Martin Atkinson, who's now one of the big chiefs in the referees world. So we lose another game at home, 1-0 with a full house. Again, 52,000 almost exactly, and so we then go away to Arsenal, and they now are being touted as possible champions. So there's no question this is going to be a difficult game for us, but we have it's one change in the team. Elliott comes back in goal and Darlow goes on the bench. Otherwise, it's the same team we've been playing most of the season: Yedlin, Lascelles, Lejeune, Maniquino, Hayden, Marino, Atsu, Perez, Murphy, and Joselu. Arsenal team: Petr Cech, who they just got from Chelsea, Berlin, Kochensky, Monreal, Maitland-Niles, Wiltshire, Zach Xhaka, Iwobi, Ozil, Sanchez, and Lacazette. A very talented side, and regarded as possible championship material, champions material. A good football. No surprise though on 23 minutes when Ozil puts Arsenal 1 in the lead. And that's how it stays till half time. Second half, we actually have a go at this, and with a little bit of luck, we could have equalised, but it wasn't with us, and it stayed 1-0 at the final whistle. But a 1-0 loss at the Emirates is no great shame for a team that's just newly promoted. Our next game is another away game at West Ham on the following Saturday. West Ham, talented side, Adrian Reed, Obana, Cresswell, Zabaleta, Coyote, Obang, Makazu, Antonio, Ayew, Oranovic. We've got unchanged team, Elliot Yedlin, Clark, etc. This game starts off well, like a house on fire, like 100 miles an hour. 6 minutes, Adovic scores for West Ham. 10 minutes, Savic scores his one and only goal for Newcastle United. Then after that settles down, after half time, Diarmi puts us in the lead on 53 minutes. Atsu makes it 3-1 in 61 minutes. Then Ayew pulls one back on 69 for West Ham. Then after that, it's backs the wall for Newcastle because West Ham really have a go. And it's a good win for Newcastle away from home, and a one that's needed because the last few home defeats have made our league position look a bit precarious, but this kind of puts us back up in the mid-table where it feels a bit more comfortable. And so a nice 3-2 away win. Lee Mason, the referee, and another one whose name appears a lot as one of the people at VAR these days. The next game is a home game against Manchester City, who are being touted as the champions. They're playing really well and got a really fine side. Edison, Walker, Company, Otamendi, Danilo, De Bruyne, Fernandinho, Guruan, Silva, Aguero, and Sterling, and they've been tearing up the league. Basically, they're already well ahead in the race for the title. But it's a good game. We give as good as we get in this game. It's a bit of magic from Sterling on 31 minutes, puts them 1-0 in the lead, and that's how it stays till half time. But at second half, could easily be equalised. Some nice chances created by some good skill by Shelby, long passes, but nobody taking advantage of them to put it in the back of the net. So, but it ends up 1-0 to Manchester City. But a good effort against the team that's being hotly touted as champions elect. And Andrea Mariner, the referee, is another name people will remember. Been around a while. And so we're then back home the following Saturday to Brighton, have Brighton at home. And Elliott's injured again, and Darlow's in goal, and Freddie Woodman comes onto the bench as the reserve goalkeeper. Otherwise, an unchanged team. Brighton, Ryan, Salto, Duffy, Dunk, Bong, Knockhurt, Stevens, Proper, March, Gross, and Murray. And Tim Krul on the bench for them because that's where he went in the summer after recovering from his injury here. and it's not a bad game, but it's not a game for. It's going to be a lot of goals. I don't think either goalkeeper hardly touched the ball in the first half. Repeated in the second half, and it ended up with a 0-0. It wasn't a dismal 0-0, but it was very predictable the way teams lined up with both sides packing their midfield, and so no surprise when it ended up 0-0. But at least it's a point for us. Got a bit naughty towards the end. Knockout and Dunk got booked for them, and Yedlin and Marino got booked for us. And the referee was Anthony Taylor from Cheshire. For this game was his first game for us, and the reporter says, and we hope it's the last time we'll see him. So he obviously he didn't impress that reporter, the referee. But anyway, we didn't lose. But remarkably, again, 52,200 for Brighton is quite something. The next game is the away game at Stoke City. Remember, this game is much for the weather as I do for the game. It was from start to finish torrential, and by the end of the game, it was one of those games where you could see the water splashing up when the players were running across the pitch, and seeing a trail of water droplets off the ball when it was running across the top of the pitch. I think another 10 or 15 minutes and the referee might have called it off. But anyway, so that dictated what kind of game it was. It was all up and under to try and obfuscate the impact of the rain. And but we gave as good as we got. And Stoke with Butland, Edwards, Zuma, Vermeer, Peters, Allen, Cameron, Adam, Shakri, Crouch, and Morting, Chupo Morting. The fullback, Peters, of course, that's history with us. We tried to buy him and he chose Stoke instead. So good luck to him. But as I say, the weather dictated the game, all high balls and long balls. And on half-time, 0-0, and it looked like it might drift to 0-0 at the end. But on 73 minutes, a nice through ball by Shelby found Perez, who turned on a sixpence and slotted the ball into the far corner underneath Butland, and gives us 1-0 on 73 minutes. But we never looked like losing that, and it was then that the weather actually went in our favour, because Stoke was as much stuck in their own mud as anything else. Yeah, a good hard fought 1-0 in awful circumstances. So we then have FA Cup third round at home to Luton, and well, nothing gets Newcastle fans more excited than an FA Cup run, and so everybody thinks, well, Luton are there for the taking, surely. 48,000 at the game, and we got an unchanged. No, we have a slightly changed team because Woodman's given a chance in goal, and Dummett comes in at fullback. Other than that, it's the same team that played in the league. The Luton side: Stetch, Justin, Mullins, Ray, Potts, Ruddock, Lee, Berry, Shinney, Collins, and Hilton. Some tidy young players up there, but not a team that should worry us that much. And so we set off like an express train. 30 minutes, Perez scores. 36, Perez scores. And 39 from a free kick, John Joe Shelby scores. And we're going at half-time 3-0. And everybody thinks, well, is there a possible cricket score coming in the second half? Nothing like it. Luton really came out and had a go. and pinned us back surprisingly. And just after the half-time restart, Hilton, dangerous left-sided attacker, made it 3-1, and they pressed us hard and hard. We hung on and to our 3-1 to get the victory, and towards the end got a bit spicy with the goal scorer Hilton getting involved with Freddie Woodman and gets booked at a corner, and then Dummett, Shelby, and Hayden in very short time, all three go in Neil Schwarbrook, the referee's book. But we get the 3-1 victory, which is what it matters, and we advance in the FA Cup. We're at home to Swansea City next in the Premiership, a game that we should be winning. We expect to win, and it's a tidy game. Swansea play some good football. Then that's one or two dangerous attackers, and they press us hard. And first half is not many goal chances, and it's no surprise we go in at half time 0-0. Then similar in the second half starting, but then Swansea, their dangerous attacker AU, manages on 60 minutes to go through the defence and make it 1-0 to Swansea. And there's definitely a nervousness in the crowd that think, well, this is not going to end well. But we give it a go, and almost immediately Joslu on 68 minutes makes it 1-1, and that's how it stays till the end of the game. So we recovered in a 51,500 go home, happy with a 1-1 draw, which keeps us fixed in mid-table, which is where we want to be at the very least. We're now at home to Manchester City, and
I think it's away, George.
Sorry. Yes, you're right, Steve. Sorry, I didn't see the little away on my sheet. Well, Manchester City and early champions now, they're playing so well, and so it's no surprise when we send an unchanged team, and there's virtually the same team that played us at St James's, and badly for us, on superlative form is little Aguero, who scores on 34 minutes, scores on 63 minutes. Murphy pulls one back for us on 67, and then Aguero completes his penalty with his hat trick on 63 to make it a 3-1 win to Manchester City, a win which was very all too predictable, and we really didn't even, we didn't batten down like we have in the past or in recent times, and for a while give it a go, but they just were too good for us. Is the only way to describe it, and so it's a loss, but not a surprising one, not a one that's going to cripple us. So the next game is on the Sunday, the following Sunday, is the FA Cup fourth round at Chelsea, and having had a difficult time at Chelsea in the league, it's not going to be easy in the FA Cup. We have an unchanged side out for us, and Chelsea have their all-star lineup: Caballero, Rudiger, Cahill, Christensen, Zappacosta, Kante, Drinkwater, Alonso, Pedro, Bayushi, and Hazard. And from the off, Chelsea are up for this. 31 minutes, Bayushi scores. 44 minutes, Bayeshi scores and they go in 2-0 at half time. The only surprise about that is that it's only 2. They're so well ahead of us. Second half, we look a bit better. We have a go, but 72 minutes, Alonso seals 3-0 for Chelsea, and there's no coming back for us. We have a where that's the end of the cup. There's no way we're going to get back in this game, and we don't. It's a 3-0 win to Chelsea, and that's the end of the FA Cup for us for another year. We then come home on the Wednesday to a home game against Burnley, and our league table slipped a little. League position slipped a little, so a win would be nice, or at least certainly not a defeat. And it's a tidy game. First half, some good football, but no real threat to goal from either side. And then on second half, drifting the same way, except that 65 minutes we get a corner, and up comes Captain Courageous Lascelles, and heads in with one of his landmark headers from the edge of the box, and makes it 1-0. And it looks like we're going to get a victory out of this. But then Burnley put some pressure on towards the end, and then they get a corner, and there's no danger from the corner. And unfortunately, Carl Darlow, thinking he's tipping the ball over the top of the crossbar for another corner, tips it into the far corner of the net and gives Burnley an equaliser with a rather ridiculous own goal. Burnley side got some interesting names in. A young man called Pope in goal, Bardsley, Long, Me, who's now ensconced at Everton, Taylor, Arfield, Cork, Hendrick, Westwood, Goodinson, and Barnes, and playing some good football, but not really a team that should be bothering us. But anyway, we get 1-1 and kind of helps to fix us in the middle of the league, which is something. And a referee called Simon Hooper, which is only his second game in the Premiership ever, which is something. Crystal Palace next, away at the Palace, and we're about neck and neck with Palace in the league, both struggling around mid-table, and we go there. There's 25,000 in at Crystal Palace and at Sellers Park, and we have an unchanged team, and their team is Hennessy, Mensah, Tompkins, Kelly, Van Aanholt, Townsend, Milovic, Cabaye, MacArthur, Zaha, and Benteke. They're dangerous centre forward. They have a young fullback called Sacco on the bench, who comes on after half time, and I think after about a couple of dozen games for Crystal Palace, gets transferred to Manchester United for about 50 million or something like that. And the game's tidy football, some good football. 22 minutes, Diarmi gets a flick on from a free kick and makes it 1-0. And that's how we go in at half time. And then we some tidy football in the second half, and their big centre forward Milovic, or midfielder rather, Milovic takes a penalty which was given for a push on Wilfried Zaha, and makes it 1-1, and that's how it stays to the end. But a tidy, a good draw, a well fought draw, and away from home, no bad thing. but Palace were there for the taking, really, if we'd had a go, I think. Next game is a home game against Manchester United. And this not going to be easy. And considering how we're playing, it's viewed with some trepidation, I think. Manchester United, De Gea, Valencia, Smalling, Jones, Young, Matic, Pogba, Sanchez, Lingard, Martial, and Lukaku. And we've got an unchanged side again. And first half's end-to-end stuff, but no real threat on goal. Sorry, I said unchanged. We have a change because Dubravka makes his debut in goal, and good football in the first half, but nobody looked like they're going to score, and so it's no surprise when we go in 0-0. Similarly, in the second half, lots of good play, all stuck in midfield. Manchester United very quickly make substitutions, with Mata coming on for Pogba, Michael Carrick for Lingard, and McTominay makes his debut for in replace of Matic. They're obviously going to have a go because they are a real threat to being champions. Two others at the top of the league. But lo and behold, on 65 minutes, the ball from a corner's bobbing about the penalty area like a pinball, and drops at Matt Ritchie at the edge of the box, and he slots it in on 65 minutes and gives us 1-0 lead. After that, backs to the wall, Manchester United really have a go, but we hold out and end up with a 1-0 victory, which is fully appreciated by a full house, 52,300 in St James's, and it's sighs of relief all round, I think, because it really does cement our position in the league. Next game is away game to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, who turned us over at St James's Park. We have unchanged team. Dubravka stays in the team. And Kennedy, the young Brazilian that we have on loan from Chelsea, comes into the team. A player that flat out to deceive. One game he was a world beater. The next game he looked like he had two left feet, but obviously a very, very talented player. Anyway, we go to Bournemouth, and their team is Bergovic, Francis, Cook, Ake, Daniels, Stanislas, Cook, Dan Gosling, who used to be ours, Fraser, King, and Wilson, who is ours. And it's Gale in 17 minutes who gives us the lead. Gale on 45 minutes, first kick of the second half makes it 2-0, and it looks like we're cruising. Then on 80 minutes, Smith for Bournemouth scores, and then almost the last kick of the game, and you could have predicted Dan Gosling, our ex-player, makes it 2-2. So we end up with a 2-2 draw, which is not the worst thing that could happen, but a point away from home, always very creditable in the circumstances we're in. So the next game is another away game at Liverpool, and this isn't going to be easy. So Karius in goal. There's a name to conjure with. Alexander-Arnold, Lovren, Van Dijk, Robertson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Henderson, Khan, Salah, Firmino, and Mane. Really talented side. We're unchanged. Dubravka stays in goal, and Kennedy stays in the side. So we're unchanged. it's a good game. We don't just go to defend. We actually in the game and get to towards half time thinking we're going to be okay. Then Salah scores a solo goal, as only he can do, to make it 1-0 for Liverpool at half time, and that's how it stays to half time. Second half, Liverpool really put the pressure on. There's no surprise on 55 minutes when Sane makes it 2-0, and that's how it stays to the end. A defeat, but we didn't give it away. We really did have a go, and I think that's very creditable considering where we are. Next game is a home game against Southampton, and we're all hoping for something. Southampton are bumping around the bottom end of the league, so we should get something, and that's how it goes. And first half, within 2 minutes, Kennedy scores his first goal for us. 29 minutes, he scores our second, and we go in 2-0 at half time. Second half, we really should be piling it on, but it takes till the 57th minute when Matt Ritchie scores a peach of a goal to make it 3-0, and that's where it stays until the end of the game. We're unchanged. Southampton have McCarthy, Cedric, Stevens, Holt, Bertrand, Hodgeberg, Lima, Ward-Prowse, Tadic, Redmond, and Carollo. Talented side, but no match for us on this particular day. So that really does help us push us in the right direction on the in the league. There is a brief sojourn because we play a friendly against Royal Antwerp, and one of those friendlies. I tried to discover why we played that friendly. Nothing more than Royal Antwerp wanted somebody to go and boost their coffers, I think, and we went and obliged. It was I think there was a break in the season, and rather than stay fallow, Rafa took us to this game in Royal Antwerp. Anyway, we drew 1-1 with them, and then came home to a home game against Huddersfield Town, and 2,300 for Huddersfield Town is really remarkable. Unchained side. Dubravka's made the goalkeeping jersey his. Really. Huddersfield Town, Lossie, Smith, Jorgensen, Schindler, Kalongo, Kajunga, Hogg, Moy, Van La Parra, Deporte, Pritchard. It's a pretty miserable first half. Huddersfield just come to spoil, and they're very successful at that. We don't look like we can break it down. Second half's going the same way until on 80 minutes, Perez gets a beautiful through ball from Shelvey, and the combination, which is done in the past this season, Perez just slots the ball underneath the goalkeeper to make it 1-0, and a nice victory for us. It gets a bit naughty in the second half, and Schindler, Quarter, Hogg, and Moy for Huddersfield get booked, and Lascelles gets booked for us. Lascelles gets booked because he intervenes between a row with Schindler and I think it was Shelvey, and he intervened a bit strong, and the referee Martin Atkinson took exception and took his name. But a good win for us is the best way to describe it. Next game is Leicester City away, and it's a game which we should have a chance at, but Leicester turned us over at St James's Park. Well, they're going to do the same here, unfortunately, or are they? But no, we set off like we mean to. Shelby scoring on 18 minutes with a nice free kick. And then second half, we continue to press, and no surprises when Perez makes it 2-0. And then lo and behold, on 83 minutes, Vardy makes it 2-1. And it's a bit backs to the wall for Newcastle after that. So much so there's some fairly heavy tackles going in, and Lascelles, Gale, Ritchie, and Perez are all booked for Newcastle. But booked or not, we end up with a 2-1 victory, which is really good for our league position. Next, we're at home to Arsenal, who are knocking on the door, chasing Manchester City. That's a familiar story. So it's not going to be an easy game. 52,200 in the ground, and it's an entertaining game. Two teams having a go. We're looking a bit ropey because Lacazette on 14 minutes makes it 1-0 to Arsenal. 29 minutes, Perez scores and makes it 1-1. Stays that way till half time. And then the second half, end-to-end stuff until Matt Ritchie on 68 scores a peach of a goal from just the edge of the area to make it 2-1. And we hang on to that, even though Arsenal really do pile it on. And in the Arsenal forward line, a young man by the name of Danny Welbeck, would you believe? And but a 2-1 win to us, and pushes us up towards past middle top half of the league, which is great for us. The next game is an away game to Everton, and Everton, Pickford, Coleman, Jagielka, Keane, Baines, Schneiderlin, Gure, Rooney, Walcott, Theo Walcott, Toussaint, and Bolassi. We're unchanged. He brings a debut for a young lad called Silimani, who didn't play many games for us, but he played in this game. It's pretty dismal first half, 0-0, and that's a picture from the action shot from the game. And second half starts off in the same manner, except that Theo Walcott suddenly decides to turn it on, starts giving us all sorts of problems, and it's no surprise when on 51 minutes he makes it 1-0 to Everton, and that's how it stays to the end. But we gave it a go. We didn't just lie down and accept it, and cements us where we should be. We're next at West Bromwich Albion at home, and hopefully they're round the bottom of the league. We're hoping that we can do something, but it's a pretty dismal game from our point of view, and it's a bit disappointing that we concede a goal to Phillips, 52,300 in the ground, and just after 29 minutes. And we don't seem to be able to get into this game at all, in any shape or form, even though we've got an unchanged side. We just played well against Arsenal. So it's no surprise. It's such a dismal game. It's a little surprise that we end up losing at 1-0. And following game is an away game to Watford, who are well below middle of the league. And we go with high hopes. Well, high hopes or not. With 2 minutes, we're a goal down. 28 minutes, we're 2 goals down. Pereira and Gray scores. Then 55 minutes, Perez scores, making it 2-1. And then it's backs to the wall for Watford. We really do have a go at them. but we can't get the equaliser, and things just stay that way to the final whistle. Disappointing, because a win or even a point would have taken us well above the mid-table, and especially as our follow-up games aren't brilliant, because the next one's away to Spurs, who are pressing at the top. Unchanged team, very, very decent game in terms of football. The first half, nobody going to score. They could have played over and over again, and nobody's going to score. And but then the second half's not doing much better. But in 50 minutes, a young man called Kane decides to take matters into his own hand, and from a corner heads a beautiful goal into the Newcastle net to give Spurs a 1-0 victory. And some of the names in the Spurs team, of course, are interesting. Loris, Trippier, Sanchez, Vertonghen, Davis, Sissoko, Wanyama, Eriksson, Ali, Son, and Kane. And our side is Dubravka, Yedlin, Lascelles, Lejeune, Dummett, Ritchie, Diarmi, Shelby, Kennedy, Perez, and Gale. We gave as good as we got, but we couldn't get a result out of it. So a 1-0 loss in that one. And we view our last game, which is the home game against Chelsea, with some trepidation, because Chelsea have been playing out of their socks and really turned us over when we were there in the cup. Unchanged team for us. Chelsea, Courtois, Azpilicueta, Christensen, Cahill, Moses, Barkley, Kante, Bakayoko, Emerson, Hazard, and Giroud, and there's lots of threat in that side. However, we play out of our skins. 23 minutes, Gale scores. 59 minutes, Perez scores. 63 minutes, Perez scores another, and we beat Chelsea soundly, much to the delight of the 52,200 who were at the game. So we end on a high, and we end our season really, for a first season up, in 10th position with very respectable points total, well clear of the bottom spots, but of course well away from the big boys at the top, who are even now very predictable. And the league title, Manchester City, and 100 points.
Wow.
Yeah. Manchester United 81 points at second. Then Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and the Cinderellas in the top half, of course, were Burnley, who suddenly had a run of form at the end of the season and pushed them up to 7th place with 54 points, and we only had 44. But still a decent season for us. We didn't do too badly, and I think if you were to, I suspect if you were to talk to Rafa about it, he would say if he'd been allowed to spend some money in the January transfer window, it might have been better than 10th place. But that was the life, I'm afraid, under our friend Mr. Ashley. A decent season for a first season up, and not an unrespectable position to be in, 10th on your first season up, and some interesting things in it, and some interesting players, and so that's 17-18 out of the way, and we're now ensconced in the Premiership.
Great stuff, George. As always, we will play out with the ads. Thanks for taking your time to do it. We'll see you on the next one.
Okay, thanks for watching, everybody.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can contact them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our NUFC Matters fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. They are the Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Contact them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, or telephone 01670 632 460, or mobile 0791 666 4174. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And don't forget, we are also a podcast, and you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel, you can hit the like button, which is the little thumb under each video. You can click the share button to share it to other social media, or subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, and it is for free. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the join button, and you can join the channel for $1.99 a month to help support us. We do promote events on this channel. Derek Wright is holding his official book launch at the Tyneside Irish Centre, 15th of November. Tickets are £22, and that does include a signed book. Tickets are from newcastlelegends.com. Gold Star Promotions and Gateshead Leisure Centre are bringing Lennox Lewis to the area as part of his UK tour. You can get tickets by calling 0191 250 5066. Tickets start at £39. The Long Sands are back in aid of Dementia Matters and being supported by Lilac Lane and the Chris Norris Band. Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. Tickets £15 from newcastlelegends.com or from the Clooney box office. Peter Beardsley will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 10th of January, 2025. Tickets are available from newcastlelegends.com or from Woucher. An Evening with the Entertainers takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, the 24th of January 2025. You can buy tickets for that now from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from the website tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And the Magpie Lounge is now open at Gateshead Leisure Centre. 7 tokens for £99. Call 0191 250 5066 to book your tickets today. And the first of those tokens will be the 31st of January, an evening with Lee Clark. If you just want to buy tickets separately, call 0191 250 5066. And the book everyone's talking about, The Entertainers, 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, is on sale now. The book will be posted out on the 1st of December, written by Will Scott. Over 30 contributors to this book. newcastlelegends.com or Amazon to buy it today.